Have you ever been so deep into a movie that you completely forgot where you were? Or, I don't know, maybe cried your eyes out over a character that you know isn't even real? Well, it's not just you. That's your brain on story. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and look at the actual science that explains why stories have this almost magical hold on us.
So let's just dive right in with a perfect example. Picture this. Neuroscientist Paul Zak is on a plane, just trying to relax, watching the movie Million Dollar Baby. But by the time the credits roll, he isn't just tearing up. No, he is full-on sobbing. We're talking big, sloppy, can't-catch-your-breath sobs. It's so intense that the guy sitting next to him gets genuinely worried and has to ask if he's okay.
And this right here is the central mystery, isn't it? Zak, being a scientist, wasn't just embarrassed, he was fascinated. I mean, he knew the characters weren't real. He knew it was just a movie, and yet his brain and his body reacted like it was his own family going through that tragedy. So what is happening in our heads that lets fiction feel so incredibly real?
Well, it turns out that for any story to really get its hooks into you, it has to pull off two very specific missions inside your brain. First, it's got to grab your attention. And second, and this is the really crucial part, it has to make you care. It has to basically hijack your emotions.
Now, what's wild is that our brains are, for lack of a better word, lazy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just an energy-conserving machine. So paying attention actually costs a lot of metabolic resources. It's scarce. That means for a story to even get its foot in the door, it first has to convince your brain that it's worth the effort to listen in the first place.
To put this to the test, Zak's lab came up with two different short films about a father and his son, Ben. The first one was fine. It was a flat story, just them having a nice day at the zoo. Pleasant, sure, but not exactly gripping. But the second video? That one had what we call a classic dramatic arc. The father reveals his son has terminal brain cancer, and he's just struggling to stay connected to him. That tension, that conflict, that's what grabs your brain and just refuses to let go.
Okay, so once a story has your attention, it starts to work its real magic. And it does it with this little molecule right here, oxytocin. You might have heard it called the love drug, but neuroscientists like Zak prefer to call it the moral molecule. Why? Because it's the chemical that literally lets us feel empathy and connect with other people.
So you can think of it like a chain reaction. First, the story's tension, that dramatic arc, captures your scarce attention. That focus then allows you to get emotionally invested in the characters. That feeling of investment triggers your brain to release oxytocin, and that is what makes you feel genuine empathy for people you know are completely made up. It's a beautiful little empathy engine.
All right, this all sounds pretty cool in theory, right? But does it actually have any effect in the real world? Let's take a look at the hard evidence that shows how a good story can physically change our behavior.
So when the researchers took blood samples from the people who watched the Ben stories, the results were just incredible. The dramatic version, the sad one about the boy with cancer, caused a huge spike in oxytocin. And get this, the more oxytocin a person produced, the more empathy they said they felt, and here's the kicker, the more likely they were to actually donate their own money to a charity for sick children.
To double-check this, they went even further. They gave one group of people a dose of oxytocin right up the nose and another group a placebo. Then they had them watch some PSAs. And the results, as you can see, were not subtle. The group that got the real oxytocin donated a staggering 56% more money to charity. This tiny molecule literally makes us more generous human beings.
But it gets even more precise than that, because it's not just about empathy. The most powerful stories, the ones that really move us to action, also trigger another hormone called ACTH. Think of ACTH as the biological fingerprint for attention. A truly great story has to nail both attention and empathy.
And this is where you see the true power of that 1-2 punch. When a story was crafted just right, so that it caused a rise in both the attention hormone, ACTH, and the empathy hormone, oxytocin, well, the impact wasn't just a little bigger, it was exponential. Donations didn't just go up, they soared by an absolutely mind-blowing 261%. That is the power of a perfectly told story.
So how does this whole formula play out in the things we watch every day? Let's apply this neuro-storytelling framework to a blockbuster. We'll use the fictional third Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, to see exactly how filmmakers are engineering these responses in all of us.
You can see it right away. The plot follows that classic dramatic arc we've been talking about, almost to a T. It kicks off with a powerful emotional moment, grief and loss.
Then it steadily builds tension with a dangerous new enemy. That leads to a massive, action-packed climax, and finally, a resolution that brings that emotional journey home. And if we actually break it down, you can see the specific neurochemical targets. Introducing a whole new evil clan and all those high-stakes battles, that's pure adrenaline. That's designed to spike your ACTH and keep you glued to the screen. But Neytiri's raw grief over her son and the family's desperate struggle to stay together, that's aimed right at your heart. It's a direct hit on your oxytocin system, engineered to make you feel what they feel.
And listen, the filmmakers aren't even trying to hide it. The director, James Cameron, says it himself. The whole film is about these intense emotional cycles. He is intentionally building a story around the very feelings, grief, anger, loss, that he knows will trigger the most powerful empathic response in his audience. This is storytelling by design, not by accident.
And the actors on set could feel it too. Jack Champion, who plays Spider, said reading the script felt like a wrecking ball just came crashing through. That feeling, that shock, that sudden, unexpected turn is a masterclass in holding attention. It's how the story stops your brain from getting lazy and looking away.
So what this all shows us is that a blockbuster movie's plot is so much more than just a series of things that happen. It is a carefully engineered sequence of stimuli. It's a formula specifically designed to manipulate your attention and your empathy for the biggest possible neurochemical bang.
Now, you might be thinking that knowing all this science kind of ruins the experience, right? That it takes the magic away. But honestly, it doesn't. In fact, I think it does the opposite. It reveals something much deeper, something really profound about who we are as a species.
Because this is the ultimate takeaway. We seek out stories, we get lost in them, and we are moved to tears by them, not just because it's fun, but because empathy and social connection are hardwired into our biology for survival. Our brains didn't evolve to watch movies, they evolved for story.
So, the next time you're watching something and you feel that lump in your throat, where you find yourself cheering for a character in a book, just take a second and remember the incredible science at work. And then maybe ask yourself, if stories are really this powerful, if they're this biologically ingrained, what are the stories that are shaping you?